Vishy, Nihal Sarin winning the rapid tournament with a round to spare. That was a big result.
Yes, we were thinking he's got a 1 point lead and he has 3 rounds to spare, and Nihal is basically solid, well prepared. So I thought his lead that's a nice enough cushion for his lead to hold. In fact, he went nuts. He won 2 games and closed the tournament out. So he beat first Mamedyarov. That was already very nice because you don't beat Mamed that easily.
You actually like this maneuver, Rook D7, Queen D8.
Absolutely. So there's this position. I think I was in the commentary with you and I was saying, black is completely fine because you can play knight f8. But that's one thing. Another question is, can you actually squeeze even more out of the position than equality? I like this plan. He went knight f8, rook d1. And the queen and rook don't combine well in this way. But put the rook first and suddenly it is a battering ram. So rook d7, h for queen d8, move 22. Mamedyarov, of course, blundered with rook c2. And by the way, rook d3 and white seems to be okay. But still, it's unpleasant for white. You have to make moves and, so many squares are mined, so to speak, that it's a bit tighter. After knight e7, it's amazing how helpless white is. So he gave a pawn just to return to d3. And then Nihal just finished it beautifully. He went knight d7, knight f5, knight e4, and then this knight d2 to wrap it up. Boom, game over. It was a tough tournament for Shakhriyar. Somehow after his first day, his second day just didn't work out, and third day also collapsed. But still, amazing win for Nihal.
The thing is, after such a win, generally you talk to the player who's done that, and he's like, yeah, this was a good move I played. Nihal was, when we spoke to him about this, he was like, I'm unsure about this, I was not sure, I was okay, maybe there would be a draw. Then maybe this is a mistake. It's like Nihal's way, he's not sure about things.
It reminds me of Ivanchuk, because if sometimes you tell him, my God, you're +4, and he would say, yes, but this game I made small mistake because he could escape in the ending. And who cares, you're +4, stop it. And, but maybe I could do this and that. And so it's a kind of perfectionism. Let's leave it there. It's very irritating when you're not +4 and they're +4, and they remind you that they're complaining that it could have been better. Sometimes Magnus does this also.
It's like the top
It wasn't a great tournament, yes. It wasn't a great tournament. So then Nihal beat Magsudlu. Magsudlu's opening was all over the place. And
he also was playing very fast this game.
I'm dying to make other moves than what Nihal did. Because I think his position is even better than what he did. But he went for a solid position. He went knight d3. Thereabouts, I think it's about equal. But once again, Nihal just plays sensible moves, waits, and the moment something on move 34, he's ready to play e4. And it looks like nothing's been happening for a while. This is typical of Nihal, that nothing is happening for a while, but his position is kind of improving, and now he's ready to play e4.
Yeah.
And then suddenly e5, and he gets a very nice edge everywhere. So you can offer the exchange of queens on c5, this, that. It's no longer equal or reasonable. And he played the ending out. I don't know if I should praise him or just say it's for his level, it's not a big deal. Probably I'll just leave it at that. And
I think by this time he had won the tournament.
He had indeed won the tournament. And the last game, I wasn't even sure if they were going to play very hard, but it turned out that Arjun had this preparation.
32 moves of prep.
Right, and the question is, had he prepared it for Nihal or had he prepared for someone else? The first problem for Nihal is I think both of them, Arjun and Nihal, seem to have prepared the French together. That's my guess. I've not asked them, but that's my guess. Which means that against the one guy you want to play the French, you can't play because he knows your thing. I don't know. That could be a factor. This line has got that little danger that knight d4, bishop g6, bishop f4, rook c8, what he did. And
it seemed roundabout equal, like it was not.
I have the feeling, but I have to check my notes because there's always some detail that you don't remember. So 21, rook e7, knight c4, and then bishop c7, king f8. So the really amazing thing is on move 27, c4, rook e4, c5. And Nihal just seemed shocked even that was possible. So against c5, knight d3, Arjun gave the variation rook c4, knight b2, rook c3, knight d1, rook c1, is it rook d4? C6, b takes c6, b6, rook takes d6, b7, rook d8, f3, quiet move. Because the most important thing is take away e4. So the obvious question is, well, then if my bishop comes in a different route, bishop f5, and then it's rook c5. Not rook c6, because then I go bishop e6, rook a6, bishop d5 controlling a8, but rook c5, so you don't have the same idea. And black, just to recap, black is 2 full pieces up. He has a pass pawn on a4 versus whites on b7, but he's totally helpless. He is not even getting to give up the rook, because if you give up the rook, he's still winning. He has 2 pieces and 2 pawns, but he's not able to even give up the rook against this pawn. And white doesn't even have an open file yet. He still has to capture on c6 or go to a5, but great prep. Anyway, he showed a lot of beautiful lines.
Yeah, amazing. And I think he prepared it for Shak, and it helped with Nihal.
He prepared for Shakriyar. Okay, that I think. So, there is a draw on move 30. I think the problem is rook c4 seems like a refutation, but
h6 or h5 you have to play, something like that, which is not so easy there. Instead of rook c4.
Yes, we can go h6, b6, rook d1, rook b1.
Yes.
And then knight f2, knight d3 takes f2 while you capture b7, and that seems to be enough.
Correct.
But after this, it's lost, and he only manages to get rook versus knight. He set up a reasonable fortress, but there is no fortress really. So it was nice for Arjun. He clinches the second place, and to some degree, I think beating someone who's in that good shape is also
Nihal,
nice.
and he also beat Nakamura before that.
Correct.
Which is
and with Nakamura was a very impressive game as well, because Hikaru was sort of coming back, and then it was quite a complicated tussle in a sense, but it shows again that Arjun is the equal of the best players. He plays normal middle games, end games, everything. He just plays normally, and you can't just outplay him here or there. You have to think. Gukesh with Hikaru, he didn't get very much, but then he beat Setu in a very long struggle.
Yeah, in the end game.
And then I think tragedy with Wesley, because he was better at a couple of points, maybe even winning.
Yeah.
And good prep and everything, but then just he walked into this bishop d4, queen c2, bishop c2. Somewhere things went wrong. H5, rook a6, and it's no longer working. So, though it must be a big relief for Wesley, because clearly he was having a nightmare tournament.
Correct.
This is someone who made Nihal look very helpless in the global championship, and then suddenly here tables are totally turned, no? So, very tough for Gukesh, and it was a pattern. Every day he would have one good game and one very bad game.
Yes.
And he never seemed to
I think he scored 1.5 on each day.
Exactly, so even. I think the hardest blow for Setu, because I know the feeling. He's going to get married in a couple of days. He playing Hikaru. It's the last rapid game. You finish this, then you pack your bags and you go home. And if you finish on a reasonable note, you draw, then you go back a little bit happier. You go and lose. It's irritating. You can say yes, but it's nothing compared to your the changes in your life. You're getting married, this and that. But it's irritating, for a chess player especially. And I know that because in those Hermanas before I did something similar. I lost a better position against Kamsky. Spoiled my tournament, spoiled my first place chances. Came back home and got married. Because not 2 days later, but anyway. So,
but he takes back the win with Arjun, so that's something to be happy about.
That is true. He had a win against Arjun, and that's not the easiest point to make, as you saw. So the only thing is at the very end there, it shows again that you have to be alert till the very end, especially against people like Hikaru,
Yeah,
because
knight
that's what they
D3, yeah.
specialize in. People like Hikaru, they don't just stay at the end. They're not just waiting to make a draw. They're still looking for any small detail. And bishop e4, f3 takes e2 as a draw. And the beauty of bishop e4, f3 is that black has a whole move for free, but he can't do anything with it because if he captures, d5 is protected. So he has to wait to capture d5. And then after bishop e2, knight e2, king takes d5, king d3 is a opposition, so
Right.
that's a draw.
Absolutely.
So very tough that having successfully defended a probably lost position, he loses it anyway. With it, I think would have enjoyed winning the game with Shakhriyar just to catch this because it is a huge game. I mean, he blundered in the opening, was a pawn down for nothing. Then stirred up counterplay with his pawn on h3 in the king side. And the lines are very beautiful. All you need is somehow that queen to come back and get on this long diagonal and pressure g2. We had some fun with all these lines, but he...
A4 was the typical Shak move.
Yeah, a4 was
the
great
end.
because it allows you to play queen b5 somewhere. The computer says a4, queen a2 still wins because you want to reroute. But these things are easy to see in hindsight because after rook c1 black, white goes queen g8 check, and there's a check everywhere. So narrow escape for Shakhriyar, but again, one person's disappointment is another. I think Shakhriyar to lose the third one as well would have been more than he could handle. So for him, it was nice to just kind of stop the rot. Sorry. He in fact drew with Abdusatorov. So forget that story. So for Shakhriyar, still it was a disappointing tournament, but another loss would have been just a bit much. Wesley, like I said, he beat Gukesh, so his tournament improved while Gukesh's missed, essentially locking in third place.
Yeah.
So that was a thing. Abdusatorov, he still fought and very impressive. I mean, I find Abdusatorov very impressive. I think he's able to bring a lot of determination to the game and thing, but very out of sorts Wesley in the opening. But nonetheless, once Wesley got the fortress, the rook and bishop was his thing, I thought he would be fine, but he exchanged one pair of rooks. And the problem with exchanging one pair of rooks is then it's easier for black to push all his kingside pawns. So this happened. The pawns got to g4, h4. After that, maybe he cannot save it anymore.
Correct.
Hikaru, I think, happy to bail out. And this win against Setu improved his tournament.
Yes.
So, you can see again this thing, one person's disaster is another person's relief. Kind of cruel there, but that's how it is.
Actually, four Indians finished. I think top 3 were taken by Indians, and top 4 out of 5 were Indian players, which is actually very impressive in a way.
Yes. And on the first day, it didn't look well. Shakhriyar was leading, but Hikaru was doing badly, and maybe Parham as well.
Yeah.
So quite a nice comeback. To overhaul Shakhriyar, and at the end of the first day, it would have been difficult to predict that one person would win a round to spare and it wouldn't be Shak.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
these things are decided. But you can see even dominant people are never safe. Nihal was totally dominant.
Yeah.
But still Arjun managed to put pressure and win some. In the women's event,
I think Anna Ushanina won it with this. I mean, Zagnidze we thought was sort of leading throughout, but Ushanina was right on her toes, on her heels, and then finally she got it in the tiebreak.
but Zagnidze should have lost so many games.
Yeah.
And still, it seemed almost effortlessly slipped out of them. So she's very tenacious. But it was enough for Ushanina to catch up, and then she won the tiebreak. So very impressive
Very
performance
clean
like that.
tiebreak. Yeah. And I think Vaishali, Vantika and Savita didn't have a particularly good day on the last day. I think they all, apart from actually Vantika beating Anna Muzichuk in the last round, which is actually quite a big result.
Yes, that so Vantika has produced a couple of very nice wins. Also, she beat Savita quite well.
Yeah.
1 second, just yes, Savita and Anna Muzichuk. Very tough tournament for Anna Muzichuk. Clearly, I would have included her amongst the favorites.
Absolutely.
And she's not particularly weak in rapid chess or something, but she seemed never to get to. In fact, Maria was having an easier time of it than Anna. Savita, the final day was even worse. I mean, she was. She lost all three, right? Or
she managed. Savita lost all three.
No, she
lost to Olivia, Ushanina, and Harika.
Right. So very tough day for her. I think again there's just problems with her openings. She gets into trouble in the openings and then very hard to get out. But with Kyolbasa, she was doing okay, but her rook got trapped, and we saw that you just need to find this d3 intermezzo, and then you save the game. But without that, it doesn't work. So very bad tournament for Savita. Tough tournament for Vantika. But then again, we mustn't forget that Vantika is not able to concentrate in chess as much as she wants because
she has to study.
She's doing her exams as well. Yes. So she's always a bit torn. I hope she will have time at some point to work, because you can see in her games that when it clicks, it does work well. Vaishali had a very good tournament, but the last day she drew with Humpy a bit easily. She didn't try at all. This is a tricky one because it makes sense to skip one game here or there. And if you do it and you're successful, nobody will say anything. But in fact, she then drew Ushanina quite easily and then lost this.
Olivia, she lost.
Right.
So I think Harika finishing third was nice.
But sorry, quickly, that she had a very good opening against Olivia, and she had a good position.
Yes.
But you can see that there's a difference between a good position and a practically good position. When that bishop is on e5, queen is on b6, potentially knight e4, it's easy to make a mistake and then suddenly c3 collapses. So objectively, white is better, but it's not enough. In the other line, with g4, she would have had this
e5, g4
granite walls, b2, c3, d4, and a king on b1, and light squares to press. But I thought that was an important miss.
Right.
Ushanina, very impressive. She won a harmless looking ending against Maria Muzichuk. Then she beat Savita. We were just discussing, right? This bishop h5 check, bishop g6, knight in h8, but we concluded it wasn't enough, and
she went
right there, and there were details. So even this position, which looked huge for black, some mistakes happened, and Savita did get a chance to escape. But it's very hard to escape, and sometimes you have to believe that you have a chance to escape, and so she didn't manage. And Ushanina then made a quick draw against Vaishali.
Yeah, which was a risky decision, but it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out well. And Zagnitse, I think just impressive how she saved these positions over and over again. Which game was it that we thought was completely hopeless?
Against Anna Muzichuk, where she gave up the d6 pawn. I mean, she had lost the d6 pawn in the opening.
Of course, this great opening, right? And how much easier do you want it to get? But she managed to stir up something.
Knight endgame, there was a stalemate idea that she found.
Yeah.
It was very pretty.
Sure. Maria Muzichuk, I think, reasonable tournament. Nonetheless, she is used to more, but that's it. I think Humpy got tired in the end because the last game just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Whom did she... She lost to Olivia. In a position I thought she was doing, I mean, her opening and all was fine, but then she loses control and I think so just maybe a bit of fatigue.
Right.
But she is probably the oldest participant.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
maybe
so-
Ushanina perhaps.
Yes. So that is a factor as well.
Correct. And so the blitz, now we are moving to blitz today. Who would you call, like in the open section, I feel any one of the 10 players can win it. Like it's such a, very rarely such a field exists that you can say anyone can win out of these 10.
That's true. Still though, I think blitz specialists, they are happy and they're most likely to start. But even blitz specialists, if they have a bad start, it doesn't necessarily compensate. So momentum is more important than your skills, but because it's hard to correct a tournament. So we should see who gets off to a good start.
Who would you put in the blitz specialist section? Hikaru, Nihal?
Hikaru, Nihal, Arjun. But Gukesh has had some amazing blitz performance as well.
Yes.
Vidit, I guess less so, but I feel that his overall strength is higher, so it should show in blitz as well. But I think he needs a little bit of time to compose himself sometimes, and in blitz he doesn't have that. In rapid also he doesn't have that fully. Because it's amazing how controlled his performances were in Austria. I was very impressed with that. There was some game and you would leave him for a while, he'd come back a bit later and he'd made a lot of progress. He's the thing. But I think Vidit is also determined because last year in Calcutta didn't work out well. The rapid could have gone better, so it's burning inside. It might happen. But you're right, I think all of them can do it. Parham, Shakhriyar, all of them can play. They're so aggressive that if things start clicking in the blitz, they can score a lot of points. Right. That is the whole point of the blitz, that you're supposed to score. You don't win blitz with the usual +2. If you get +2, it's because you won 10 and lost 8, not because you won 2 and drew 10. So it's the nature of blitz. We'll see.
I think your final day of 2018 was a good representation of that, where you won like 5 or 6 games in a row.
Yes, sometimes you are thinking you're unstoppable because you just keep on winning and you don't even know why. That's right. For the women, again, I don't know whom to pick.
Maybe Anna Muzichuk once again is sort of the...
Anna Muzichuk, and again, she's burning for revenge. She's had a rest day, a little bit of fun. And maybe, that's the key factor. I remember Karyakin once, in Riyadh, he had one of the worst rapid events, but then he had one of the best blitz. So the most important thing is just how angry you are on the rest day between the events, or the time you have to compose yourself. Of course, in the World Rapid Blitz, you don't even have a rest day for that, but same point, that you're happy now to be given a fresh start. I mean, once you're 1 out of 5 and all your rivals are 4 out of 5, it feels hopeless even if you try.
Correct.
But once that, the blitz event right afterwards has this feeling of resetting all the scores, like pressing new game.
Exactly.
And then you say, okay, I'm so happy to be able to start properly now, and then you make use of that.
It's going to be very exciting, and 3+2 games, so
yes,
looking forward to it.
Exactly.
And I think we'll again have a recap at the end of the first day.
Sure.
So thank you so much, Vishy, for your insights.
Yeah.